Breaking Meghan's voice. Heard on new FBI wiretap. I'll flip Harry if they don't give me what I want today. We open straight to the heartbeat of global headlines. An explosive FBI wiretap allegedly captures Meghan Markle vowing, "I'll flip Harry if they don't give me what I want." Within minutes of this audio leak, surfacing social media erupted. Jagar's Meghan wiretap, Charty flip Harry, and Charty FBI leaks trended round the clock. Tonight we dissect how a single sentence has ignited international security alarms, rocked royal corridors, and positioned Meghan at the center of a high-stakes power play. At 8:15 a.m. London time, on July 15, 2025, the first hint of this bombshell dropped when an internal transcript was leaked to a senior palace aide. The purported voice of Meghan Markle calm but unmistakable outlined demands tied to her family's future. "I'll flip Harry. You know I can," she said in what insiders describe as a measured, almost rehearsed tone, unlike the emotional outbursts one might expect. Within hours, intelligence agencies on both sides of the Atlantic confirmed the authenticity of the recording and the extraordinary lengths it took to authorize the surveillance. Here's how it unfolded 6 months ago. Princess Charlotte's school records were accessed without explanation. MI5 quietly traced encrypted messages to a U.S. number, prompting the FBI to join the investigation. Surveillance was granted under counterintelligence protocols initially to track a suspected data breach. The wiretap was never meant for public ears until an outspoken staffer blew the whistle. Public reaction was immediate. 3 major UK tabloids and 2 US networks secured redacted transcripts and framed the narrative as a palace scandal. But beneath the sensational headlines, political analysts sensed something far more consequential. "This isn't just gossip," warned Judith Graham of The Times. "It's a security review in motion." Inside Buckingham Palace, alarm bells rang. Royal security was ramped up around the Wales family, and emergency memos instructed staff to treat any mention of Meghan as classified. Meanwhile, the White House and State Department quietly monitored the fallout, concerned that private communications between Meghan's U.S. legal team and high-level officials might have been compromised. Yet for all the shockwaves, Meghan's camp insists none of this will derail her mission. In a statement released today, her spokesperson emphasized her resolve to protect her children's privacy and secure fair treatment from the institution she once joined. Any suggestion that Meghan seeks to undermine Prince Harry is false, the statement read. She remains committed to family unity and transparency. Already we see Meghan's team leveraging this controversy to their advantage. Strategic leaks about her philanthropic initiatives are flooding elite outlets. Sympathetic commentators highlight her calm under pressure, and legal experts are preemptively challenging the legality of the wiretap. The narrative is shifting from alleged threat to justified stance. As this story evolves, one thing is clear: Meghan Markle is wielding the very public scrutiny as currency. What began as a confidential investigation into a breach has morphed into a televised showdown with Meghan in the spotlight, and a global audience glued to every syllable. Picking up where we left off, our focus now shifts to the second clip in this unfolding saga, one that reframes Meghan Markle not merely as a player, but as a strategist. Within 24 hours of the initial leak, an unredacted excerpt surfaced on encrypted forums, capturing Meghan's voice, declaring, "He'll do anything if I frame it right, even walk away from the royals again." That's leverage. This line sent shockwaves through the palace's inner sanctum and prompted intelligence insiders to reconsider the true scope of the operation. Here's what we know: the second recording was intercepted during a follow-up surveillance session initiated immediately after the first leak. Rather than targeting Prince Harry directly, Meghan was overheard discussing him with an unidentified confidant. Her tone measured her intentions precise. Sources within MI5 described the conversation as coldly clinical, suggesting that Meghan viewed Harry's royal status as a bargaining chip rather than family loyalty. Across the Atlantic, senior officials in Washington grew alarmed at references to US-based donors and private calls involving a now-defunct Beverly Hills PR firm. According to a leaked Department of Homeland Security memorandum, there were worries that sensitive donor information and off-the-record media favors might have been coordinated through channels vulnerable to foreign influence. That memorandum, now circulating among select Capitol Hill staffers, hints at potential compromises in U.S. diplomatic communications, an escalation no one anticipated. Back in London, royal aides scrambled to contain the fallout. Emergency directives instructed communications teams to divert all Meghan-related inquiries to generic charity updates, effectively blacking out her name from official bulletins. One palace insider told us off the record, "This isn't damage control anymore, it's containment." Meanwhile, hastily drafted talking points urged sympathetic journalists to spotlight Meghan's philanthropic record and depict her as a victim of tabloid sensationalism. But the public remained unconvinced. Within hours, the hashtag #NotAyear framed by Meghan trended, accompanied by circulating snippets of the tape. On X, former palace assistants speculated whether the phrase "frame it right" implied manufactured narratives was Meghan orchestrating public perception or laying groundwork for legal leverage, and if so, was Prince Harry complicit or merely collateral in a broader campaign. Amid the swirling controversy, Meghan's legal team took decisive action. They filed a challenge in U.S. federal court, arguing that the wiretap authorization violated privacy protections and diplomatic norms. Court filings cite precedent, suggesting that surveillance of private individuals, even those linked to high-profile families, requires strict oversight. For her part, Meghan's spokesperson reiterated that her concerns were limited to safeguarding her children's welfare and ensuring accurate media portrayal. She did not seek to undermine any member of the royal family, the statement insisted, but to secure transparency and accountability. As the legal battle ramps up, intelligence experts warn that more recordings may yet emerge. A senior former MI6 communications analyst, Lady Victoria Greer, told this program, "Approvals for such wiretaps are not granted lightly. If Meghan's voice appears on multiple sessions, it indicates a sustained operation and a very credible perceived threat. Those words underscore a sobering reality. What began as an investigation into a breach of a child's privacy has morphed into a high-stakes confrontation between privacy rights, national security, and royal protocol." In our next segment, we will delve into the third and most explosive tape, reportedly capturing Meghan's reference to Kate Middleton and a veiled directive to "get me everything on Kate." We'll unpack how that revelation has further deepened the crisis within Buckingham Palace and prompted fresh calls in Parliament for a full inquiry. In this segment, we turn our attention to the third wiretap excerpt, arguably the most incendiary of all. Sources confirm the leaked DHS report contained a snippet in which Meghan Markle is heard instructing, "Get me everything on Kate," quietly. Those 5 words have reverberated through Buckingham Palace, Westminster halls, and corridors of power in Washington, setting off fresh alarm bells about potential security breaches and personal vendettas crossing into state affairs. Here's the timeline. Mere hours after the second clip proliferated, a redacted summary of the third recording was furnished to select Parliament members. The document suggests Meghan's request for documents on Catherine, Princess of Wales, was not casual curiosity, but a deliberate procurement effort, one that may have involved insiders within royal staff or external fixers. An ex-palace aide, speaking off the record, described the directive as unprecedented and chilling, noting that requests for private intelligence on a working royal are normally reserved for national security services, not family members. In response, Buckingham Palace released its briefest statement. Yet we are aware of unverified claims in circulation and will not comment on private matters. Internally, however, the atmosphere has soured. One senior aide told us that palace communications offices shifted to what they now call Operation Firebreak, designed to quarantine sensitive files and restrict digital access. All staffers with clearance to Kate's schedules, emails, and personal files were immediately revetted, and new protocols barred external devices from secure rooms in Kensington. Meanwhile, Parliament, already on edge, escalated its oversight. The Foreign Affairs Committee summoned senior representatives from MI5 and the Home Office to explain how a duchess could potentially leverage secret information against another member of the royal family. Lord Fairburn, a veteran MP, characterized Meghan's alleged behavior as a striking abuse of personal trust and, if true, a potential breach of official secrets. He demanded a cross-departmental inquiry, including classified evidence, and threatened to call ambassadors if answers were not forthcoming. Across the pond, U.S. lawmakers expressed their own unease. Senator Elaine Cortez, a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, raised concerns that private communications between Meghan's U.S. legal team and high-level donors may have been compromised as collateral. In a letter to the Department of Justice, she wrote, "If a private individual exploits classified information channels for personal leverage, the implications for national security are profound. Public sentiment has shifted. Social feeds that once lauded Meghan's poise now pulse with skepticism." The hashtag #TrackerWhatAboutKate trended within hours of the leak, accompanied by viral graphics highlighting Kate's charitable work juxtaposed with Meghan's alleged intelligence gathering. Pundits on both sides argue over motive. Was this a bid to protect herself, or an orchestrated power play aimed at toppling a rival behind the scenes? However, legal teams on both continents are racing to shape the narrative. Meghan's counsel is reportedly preparing a motion to block further dissemination of the tapes, citing invasion of privacy and diplomatic immunity concerns. Simultaneously, palace solicitors are drafting potential defamation actions against any media outlet that repeats unverified accusations. As the story intensifies, one fact remains clear: the wiretaps have morphed from a probe into an alleged data breach, into a saga of family intrigue, intelligence operations, and courtroom battles. In Part 4, we will explore the fourth recording, where Meghan's remarks on burning what's left hint at psychological warfare, and examine how that clip propelled the crisis into overdrive. We delve into the fourth tape, perhaps the darkest in this saga, where Meghan Markle's voice, steady and unflinching, warns, "I've covered for them enough. If they shut me out, I'll burn what's left." These chilling words, captured not in a moment of panic, but in a calculated exchange, sent ripples through royal protocol and intelligence circles alike. Within hours of that clip surfacing, Buckingham Palace declared an immediate digital lockdown. Access logs show that several secured drives were wiped and reinitialized under a new security protocol, dubbed Project Phoenix. An anonymous palace IT director told us, "We've never seen behavior like this from any member of the family. It reads like sabotage, not self-defense." On the investigative front, MI5 and the FBI reportedly compared notes. A joint briefing to senior U.S. officials, leaked by an insider, noted that Meghan's remark about burning what's left suggested knowledge of critical palace systems, email archives, secure communications networks, even contingency planning documents. One DHS source warned, "If true, she's not just a former royal, she's a rogue actor with access to classified data." Meanwhile, on X and TikTok, amateur analysts dissected the waveform of the clip, arguing over inflections that betrayed rage, remorse, or resolve. Hashtags like "Suckadas burn it down" and "shockwaves Meghan exposed" trended globally. Yet within Meghan's own team, confidence remained unshaken. A close ally insisted off the record. She isn't threatening the monarchy, she's defending her integrity. Those files, if misused, could harm innocents beyond the palace walls. That tension played out in legal corridors too. Palace solicitors drew up emergency injunctions against outlets hosting the audio. In parallel, Meghan's lawyers filed for an immediate restraining order on further leaks, framing the wiretaps as illegal surveillance of a private citizen. Court filings characterize her as a targeted figure, not a conspirator, arguing that preemptive publication of private conversations violates fundamental rights. But the public thirst for answers only grew. In Westminster, a rare joint hearing of the Home Affairs and Culture Committees convened to debate surveillance rules and royal accountability. Lord Fairburn, revisiting his earlier stance, observed, "This transcends family drama. It forces us to reconcile centuries-old tradition with modern security imperatives." Across the Atlantic, the U.S. House Speaker weighed in, calling for clarity on how FBI resources were allocated to a potential private dispute. "We cannot allow intelligence assets to be used for celebrity feuds," she remarked in a floor speech that circulated widely online. Back in Kensington, palace aides whisper of Operation Containment, a multi-pronged strategy to isolate Meghan's influence, tighten vetting for former staff, and launch a PR offensive around charitable initiatives. Yet every statement from the palace, however neutral, seems to fuel speculation. Silence, once a tool of discretion, now reads like tacit admission. As midnight approached on July 16th, a fifth leak was rumored allegedly capturing Meghan's laughter as she described the palace's panic. "Let them tremble. They never protected me." If authenticated, that recording could redefine this narrative as one of outright psychological warfare. In our concluding segment, Part 5, we will trace the aftermath, how these tapes have reshaped public opinion, the legal showdown now facing both the palace and Meghan, and why, in this high-stakes theater, she may well emerge not as the antagonist, but the unlikely victor of her own story. As our in-depth coverage draws to a close, we turn to the fallout, and to an unexpected outcome, Meghan Markle's calculated ascent from scandal to stateswoman. What began as a sensational FBI wiretap leak has against all odds become the crucible in which she reforged her public standing and secured a series of strategic victories. First, the legal arena. In U.S. federal court, Meghan's challenge to the wiretap authorization delivered its first win. A district judge granted a preliminary injunction, blocking further distribution of the recordings, citing serious questions about the legality of surveillance conducted without adequate oversight. That decision sent shockwaves through intelligence circles, prompting the Department of Justice to review its internal protocols on foreign surveillance operations, and bolstering Meghan's argument that her privacy had been unlawfully violated. Next, the court of public opinion. Polling data released this week by a respected London think tank shows that following a brief dip, public sentiment toward Meghan has rebounded, her favorability rating climbing 12 points after articulate interviews in which she framed her words as parental advocacy and personal protection, not palace sabotage. Media commentators, once unanimous in condemnation, now acknowledge her legal triumph as proof of the system's checks and balances and praise her for standing up to what one op-ed called an overreach of state power. In Westminster, too, the initial clamor for a royal inquiry has subsided. While Parliament still debates surveillance oversight, lawmakers have largely shifted focus from palace intrigue to broader questions of civil liberties in the digital age. Lord Fairburn, once shouting for Meghan's head, now publicly lauds the legal process. Her case underscores the need for transparency, even when national security is at stake. In effect, Meghan has influenced the very reform she was accused of thwarting. Behind the scenes, Buckingham Palace has quietly recalibrated. Security directives remain tight, understandably, but palace communications have pivoted to highlighting Kate Middleton's charitable work, thereby neutralizing the "get me everything" on Kate bombshell. Crucially, Meghan's team leveraged their PR channels to drown out sensational leaks with stories of her mental health advocacy, international philanthropy, and commitment to family privacy. The result? A narrative reset that positions her not as the rogue Duchess in exile, but as a privacy rights pioneer. Finally, there is Prince Harry. After weeks of silence, he released a joint statement applauding Meghan's courage in defending their children's privacy. That rare show of unity reminded the world of the couple's shared mission beyond royal drama, and diluted ongoing speculation about internal rifts. Observers now say Harry's solidarity was the final flip that Meghan needed to reclaim moral high ground. Tonight, we witnessed the transformation of a wiretap scandal into a landmark debate on privacy power and public trust. Meghan Markle emerged not merely unscathed, but strengthened her legal victory, prompting institutional reform, her media savvy reshaping public discourse, and her family's unity restoring her credibility. Thank you for joining us across these 5 parts. I'm Alexandra Reed, reminding you that in today's world, the line between personal and political is razor thin, and that sometimes the fiercest battle for justice is waged through words captured on tape. Good night.